Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today we're checking out a haul from a recent purchase I made from CountyComm. Now, a lot of times I'll do their monthly VIP swag pack subscription where they send you random gear. This month I decided to skip that because they have a lot of new items listed on the website. And in fact, a couple went live right after I did this order. And so I figured rather than leave it to chance, I would pick up the specific items I wanted to check out. And I'll probably get back to that monthly swag pack in the next couple months. But for now, let's look at what I picked up in this order. First item we're looking at is the titanium Persuader. Now this is apparently Gen 2. I don't have Gen 1 to compare it to, but solid titanium, limited to 250 pieces, $18.95. Now this is still in stock. I'll link to all of the items I picked up in the description of this video, and I'll also list my coupon code with CountyComm, Uncommon EDC, all caps, no spaces. Will save you 10%, help out the channel a little bit. But this is, like I said, solid titanium, so you can anodize it if you'd like. 6 inches long, about 0.3 inches in diameter. It does have a pocket clip, which is a nice touch. And if you don't know what the Persuader is, this is basically a get-off-me tool. It allows you to concentrate all your force into a single point of contact, making it a much more effective and feel like a lot more force than if you were to be using a much larger object. So, self-defense tool, I don't plan on using it for that. I picked this up mainly to use as a pointer actually. And so a lot of times I'm pointing in videos and my whole hand's there, and so the camera focuses in on my hand rather than the object I'm pointing at. And so figured being able to get my hand off the object and point with the smaller point may prevent it from focusing on what I'm pointing with and actually keep the focus on the item we're looking at. So we'll see if that actually works, but at $18.95 I figured worth a gamble, and only weighs 1.1 ounces, really kind of a cool item even if it doesn't work out for my intended purpose, but that's why I grabbed it. Now next up we have the XPac Extreme Matrix card holder wallet. Basically exactly what it sounds like, minimalist front pocket wallet, a little bit on the larger side compared to some of the other front pocket wallets. In terms of the overall 4-inch in height, 2.8 inches wide, it is extremely thin, only weighs 0.3 ounces, but a little bit longer. It doesn't feel super bulky in your pocket so far though. Available in 5 different colors, $9.95, so you can get it just under 10 bucks. And the big thing here is the material choice. They went with XPac, which is based off of sailcloth, which means that it's going to be weather resistant, UV resistant, also pretty durable, easy to clean. You can just use some hot soapy water, clean it right off, and available in a bunch of different colors. You can see the tag on here is Meritac. That's their in-house brand, so some stuff is branded under CountyComm, some under Meritac, both the same thing. Now two-sided, they say it holds up to about 12 cards. I have 4 here just to test it out. That's kind of more typical of what I would carry, but no doubt that it would actually hold 12 cards. But as always, kind of less is more here. Now, you can also put some cash in there. You can see with these cards, it becomes a little bit more rigid than it was before, and still really kind of nice and thin. And so just figured I'd test this out. I haven't switched wallets in a while, and so want to test out a few new wallets because I haven't done that in a while, and figured these ones are a good one to start with. Pretty cheap and available in 5 colors if you're looking and you're not so into the coyote. They have OD, green, gray, black, and I believe orange is the last color if I remember correctly. Now, next item is an item I already have in a different material, and that's the Orbital TPSK Precision Screwdriver. And so I have the titanium, was also available in brass at one point, and I picked up the Ultem here. Now, a bit of a controversial material in terms of just people don't love the look of it. Doesn't really serve a lot of functions outside of being really heat resistant, and doesn't, not adding a whole lot to the equation, but I like the way it looks. I know some people hate the way it looks, but either way, this is a bit driver that is very solid. I already have experience with it, and only $39.95, which is pretty cheap compared to what I've been able to find from Ultem. I have a Combat Beads JW knife and tool collab made out of Ultem, similar size, that was $100, and this one's $39.95. And so 60 bucks cheaper, same functionality, not quite as fidgety because it doesn't spin as long, but still plenty fidgety. And I've really grown accustomed to using bit drivers that have these spinning heads, and so that's kind of a must-have for me. This one's nice and thin, small, and very, very functional still. That brag pattern adds a lot in terms of your grippiness. You just put that ball into the palm of your hand and makes it really easy to spin this. Now, this will work with the base that they have for this driver. In fact, that base works with any driver, really. But They don't have an Ultem one yet. I wouldn't be surprised if this is popular if they end up making an Ultem one, but either way, it'll work with that titanium base that I already have. Now, in addition to the driver itself, you also get 10 bits in this little box. It's got foam in it, so the box itself doesn't rattle, which is a nice thing. And these are blackened bits. They say have an HRC of 65. You get a pretty nice selection as well. So as far as Torx bits go, you get 5, 6, 7, and 8. You get 2 sizes of Phillips, 2 sizes of hex, and 2 sizes of flathead bit drivers. And so nice kind of selection there. I tend to just carry Weehaw bits. I have a bunch of them that are already ready to go, and so I don't usually use the bits that come with drivers that often, but I'm sure they'll do just fine. Now, if you don't want to carry it in that, it comes with that standard, rubber bit holder that you get with a lot of bit drivers as well, so nice to have that option. Now, up next is probably my favorite item from this order, the one I was most excited about, and that's the Titanium Draft Titan mechanical pencil. This is also $40, so hard to find a titanium mechanical pencil at that price point. Love the milling pattern on this, really, really cool. It's just kind of trippy as you spin it and it catches the light. It just looks like it's spinning so much faster than I actually am, and has that same exact pocket clip that we saw on the Persuader. Similar size actually, this is 6 inches long, a little bit thicker at 0.35 inches in diameter, so just a hair thicker than the Persuader, but really cool item. No eraser on this. It takes 2mm graphite, and so not your typical mechanical pencil, although this isn't proprietary, this is a standard size, and kind of a cool one. Works, I don't have to explain how mechanical pencils work. You click it, more comes out. If you go too far, you can hold it and just press that back in. And so in addition to the lead that comes installed in the pencil itself, we also get 12 refills, which is nice. You don't have to order them right away. This should last you a pretty long time. And these are pre-sharpened. So worth noting in comparison to some of those thinner lead pencils that you get in like disposable lead pencils, that sort of thing. Those, if they go dull, it doesn't matter because they're so thin anyway that you still get nice, crisp, clean lines. With this one, 2mm is pretty thick. If we look at any of these individually, 2mm is relatively thick. And so if you lose your point, you're going to be getting really wide, thick lines that are going to lead to sloppy writing. And so it does come with a small sharpener as well. Nothing too fancy, but will do the job. Now, you can delay the inevitable of having to sharpen this by just being kind of conscious of how you're writing, rotating as you write to maintain that point. But as it does get dull, you will get kind of sloppier, fatter lines, and so you might want to sharpen that up occasionally. So it is nice that it includes that sharpener. But that is the mechanical pencil. Also titanium, you can anodize that if you want. Worth noting actually, this one is limited to 1,000 pieces, and it's actually serialized, so you can see TI 760, I got 760. That doesn't mean that there's only 240 left. They do not send them out in order. They are completely random. Whatever they grab is what you get, and you can't request like a specific number. Like sometimes you can, which is a logistic nightmare, so that makes sense. But worth noting that that's limited to 1,000. I would imagine if these are popular, we'll see different milling patterns. I'm really happy I got this one because I like that milling pattern quite a bit. But if that's not your thing, I would imagine we'll see future iterations with maybe different milling patterns there. Now, last item in terms of purchased items, there was one freebie thrown into the bag, but as far as purchase items is this CountyComm Titanium Precision Watchmaker tool. And this is a collaboration with CountyComm and a YouTuber by the name of Hobby of Hours. And that's hours as in time, not like group possession. And so he has a watch channel and collaborated to make this titanium watch tool. And so really cool, and I'm sure he's gone more detail on his channel. I haven't watched it. I've seen some of his watch videos, but not on this specific tool. I'm sure he goes into more detail, so that might be worth checking out. I'll tag him in the description of this video. But nice dimpled pattern on this, so super grippy, similar to what we see on the head of that orbital screwdriver. And so dimple pattern on here, hole on the top so you can put it on a lanyard or keychain. No pocket clip on this one, a little bit shorter as well at about 5 inches in length, about the same diameter as that pencil at 0.35. And inside of here you can screw off this top to access kind of some unique bits that really apply to watch maintenance in general. And so the one that we have here is like a pin pusher, so if you're trying to remove the links of your watch, you can push them out with this. And so it works kind of similar to a drill bit head. So right now, that is in there securely. If I unscrew this, which is also where we're storing our additional bits, you can see this can press up and then we can pull this right out of there. And so once you tighten it back up, it'll be locked in and secure. And you just need to screw that back in to do so. But inside the handle of this, we have two more bits. We have a small flathead, which is nice for watches because sometimes you need a small flathead, and a V-shaped wedge, which is helpful for popping the back off of that watch if you need to. Also, if you have like the springed watch bands for kind of pushing that back, getting into a small space, that it can be really difficult to manipulate with your hands because obviously our fingers are much bigger than that V-shaped wedge. And then we can screw that back in with those stored in here. I usually will hold it just to get it started, the top portion up here, but then once you do, you can let go. And as you will see, that is now locked back into place, not going anywhere. Now, there's a O-ring on here to keep everything nice and watertight, and you can obviously anodize this as well, remove that O-ring obviously and the bits, but you can anodize this as well. Now, if you lose those bits, for now, I would imagine you can buy them on the website. I haven't checked, but I'd imagine they sell them, and maybe you can contact customer support to get them. But in the future, if this isn't around, maybe might be harder to find, it does include an entire set of all three of those bits in this little tube, which they sell the tube separately. This one's included, obviously. But they do include 3 additional bits, so if you lose one, or maybe you damage that pin pusher by pushing too hard or at an angle, which you should definitely not be applying too much pressure. You don't want to damage the watch itself, but if you do, you have an extra, so that's nice. And that one's only $29.95, and so pretty happy with that price point. They did an initial release that I missed. I was really bummed about that, so glad to see these come back. Don't know if this is considered limited or not. Again, I'd probably check out his YouTube channel. I'm sure he's done a video and has all of those details that I didn't research yet. And he makes some cool watch content. I've watched some of his CountyComm watch videos, so definitely worth checking out either way. Now, in terms of purchased items, that's everything I got. They have been throwing these in lately. Nothing too exciting, but really nice, useful item. It's basically a disposable utility blade, flips out, has just a rivet here acting as that pivot, and it flips out. Now, I've seen some people really like these. I saw a Facebook post of someone searching for these, asking, if anyone has them from their orders, don't want them, mail them to them. They're not expensive. Obviously, they're giving them away for free, but you can get them for under $1 in a lot of cases. But really cool inclusion. It's a nice little blade you can use and not worry about damaging. Just toss it out when you're done with it, or you can resharpen it and clean it up if you really want to as well. But that's everything I got this month's order. Let me know what your favorite items were down in the comments below, and if you ordered any of those new items. Now, mention there's some that went up after I made my order. I was a little bit bummed actually. One of them is whatever I'll probably order in the future, just flat packed duct tape, which is nice without that middle tool. It stores down a lot better than those round rolls of tape, and so I may pick those up in future orders as just a throw in. But the item that I was a little bit bummed I missed out on, they have a patch panel for your wall. It wasn't too big. It looked like probably 11 by 14, maybe a little bit smaller than that. Maybe it was like 8.5 by 11, I don't know. But a patch panel that you can hang on your wall, display your patches, REs. I obviously have some bigger ones. I have the notebooks for storing the ones that I don't want on display, but I'm always running out of space for displaying those. And so I wanted to check those out, and they're pretty cheap. So we'll most likely do another order sometime soon to pick those up, but kind of waiting to see what else new pops up. Obviously, we have the holiday season, and so they're doing a lot of work to put out a ton of new products. But would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting the notification button. And I hope you have a great one. Take care.